Hi, and welcome to Three Questions with. Got my buddy David with us. David is a realtor. Good morning, David. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Kevin. I'm very happy to be here today.
I appreciate it. So, David, it seems like we're always talking about the spring market, huh?
Yes.
Kind of like our running joke. But all kidding aside, as we enter the spring market, many people will decide to list their homes. What advice do you have for them to maximize the sale price of their home?
Definitely. Thank you, Kevin. That's a great question. So I have three very easy and economical tips for getting a seller top dollar, whether that's thousands of dollars more, even tens of thousands of dollars more on the sale price of their home. Number one, go to Target, go to your local Walmart, and for $100 or less, buy a bunch of good cleaning supplies. Go home, clean the table, clean the carpet, pick up the dog and cat hair, make sure the dishes are clean. And guess what? When buyers come into the house, they will look in the dishwasher. So don't hide the dirty dishes there. Once you're done cleaning the inside of the home, squeaky clean, smells good, smells fresh. That's when you go out to the garage or the shed. You get your lawnmower, you trim the grass, you edge the walkway, you make sure it looks good. When buyers come in and they see the pride of home ownership and it's clean and fresh, that's going to get you a lot more money. And you can do that by just going to the store and get some simple cleaning supplies. Number two, declutter your space. Less is more. So I'm not saying you've got to have everything out of the house, but if you can, that is a plus. But make sure things are picked up. You don't have things left out. If you have family photos on the wall or decor, it's best you temporarily put them away. And the reason we do this is to get the buyer perception that they're getting more space. When they walk in the front door, we want them to feel like the rooms are larger. And you can do that when you have less in it. So if you have a 2,500 square foot house that's decluttered, and the house across the street is a 2,500 square foot house that's very cluttered, buyers will typically pay more for your house because they feel the value. They feel the rooms are bigger, even though they're not. So if you can show the marketplace that your home has more value, they usually will pay more money for it. And number three, work with your realtor. And this is where myself and Four Seasons Sotheby's International Realty comes into play, and use what I call a wide net marketing strategy. If you cast a wide net, you'll get more fish. So what do I mean by this? When you partner with us, we have great relationships with outlets like the Boston Globe, the New York Times, where we commonly market our sellers' properties. The more buyers you can garner, the higher sale price you're going to have. So it all comes back to supply and demand. If I can get 50 buyers through the door that first weekend versus 5, the likelihood that your home's going to be bid up significantly more is very, very high. So those are my simple 3 easy tips that you can do for less than $100 to get more money on your home substantially.
So, David, my next question is, what advice do you have for people to take out the emotionalness of selling their home? We talked about this
Yeah.
in the past. David, I raised my children there. I
Yeah.
have little nicks on the door. This David was this size when he was 10. Sometimes the emotionalness causes us to think our house is worth more than it actually is. How
Yeah.
do you bring people back to reality?
Well, number one, I would validate the homeowner and say to them, to you, your home is worth that. You've loved this home. You've lived here for years. You might have raised your children on it. And, you have those nicks on the walls, all the memories, all the birthday parties, when your kids' friends come over and have a sleepover, all those things. So to you, you have emotional value because you've lived there. Now, if we take you out of the equation and look at the marketplace, they don't have emotional value. They don't have that emotional equity in the property like you do because they've never lived there. It hasn't been their home yet. So that's why it's important to work with a trusted realtor and have a comparative market analysis drafted and understand what fair market value is. If you list on the lower end of that, you're likely going to have a lot more offers, a lot more traffic. If you list on the higher end of that, your home's still going to sell, but you might not get 50 offers. You might just get 5. But at the end of the day, if you get a good offer, over asking, limited contingencies, you don't need 50, you don't need 5. You just need 1. So if you price your home within fair market value, it will sell. I usually give this gallon of milk analogy. If you go to the store nowadays, you can buy a gallon of milk for $3, $4. Now, if you walked in the grocery store one day and that same gallon of milk was $5, $6, you go, what the heck? I'm going back to the store across the street or any other store because it's less money, right? It's the same thing with a house. If we have similar property selling for X amount and you decide to list for Y amount, buyers say, I'm not getting any value there. So we have to be very cognizant about this when selling properties. But ultimately, the homeowner does own the home. So ultimately, they decide what they listed at.
Makes sense. I want to end with one random question I've never
Okay.
asked. Do you need an attorney to sell a home in the state of New Hampshire?
That is a very good question. And the answer, aside from typical title and settlement work, is no. Because New Hampshire, unlike states like Massachusetts, is not an attorney state. If you were to buy a home in Massachusetts, for example, there's multiple attorneys involved, drafting the purchase and sales, things of that nature. In New Hampshire, you don't have to. The vast majority of people just use a realtor, and you'll pay a lot less money in New Hampshire using a realtor selling your home than attorney. For the simple fact, attorneys charge a lot more money. Now, with all this being said, a seller does have the choice of law, choice of venue. So if they would like to use an attorney, they definitely can. I always say this, though. We as individuals should always have a good relationship with an attorney, whether it's a friend of ours or trusted professional. Life happens, things come up. So if there is a legal question, so you don't panic, because we always want to stay calm, cool, collected, pick up the phone and call the lawyer we know and trust. They're going to give us a good solution so we can keep moving the ball towards the closing table. So again, you don't have to, but it's good to know one and have one on your side.
Makes sense. So David, if people have further questions, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
They can call or text my cell phone at 603-520-7924.
Awesome. David, I appreciate you taking a few minutes to come on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thank you for having me, Kevin. I appreciate it.